Cool.
Hello, guys. Good evening, good morning. So today we have a special session before Q4, before or I mean, it's already Q4, so it's yeah, before like Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I wanted to chat with guys from Underground eCom, and they prepared like amazing presentation for things that you can do to maximize your like email and SMS revenue, because I mean, from my perspective, it's like the ad costs are like at its highest during Q4. So if you're not maximizing like email and SMS, like you're really doing your business a disservice because you're not maximizing the profit margins. You're pretty much like you can overspend on the advertising side, but then you gotta compensate that with email, SMS, with your backend. So I'm very excited to learn myself too, and excited to for our community to learn from you guys as well. So yeah, thank you for joining me today.
Awesome. Well,
Awesome.
thanks for having us along.
Cool.
Nice one, Alex. What I'll do, if we're ready to go, I'll go ahead and share my screen, and then we can use my screen as kind of the main one. As Alex said, we prepared a bit of a webinar for you guys on email marketing and how you can use that over Black Friday, but also how that ties into the rest of your marketing strategy throughout the period as well. As Alex mentioned, Q4 and added rising ad costs and everything we're experiencing right now, email is absolutely critical to be maximizing as a channel. And that's something that you really can't afford to not be taking advantage of. So we've got some awesome tips here to take you guys through. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Let me see. I'll make it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, should be visible now. Yeah.
Cool. Matt, shall I hand over to you to give us a little bit of an intro?
Yeah, go for it. So, hey guys, my name's Matt. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer here. I've met quite a few of you before. So, yeah, what have we done as a business? Well, we've got 130 members in our team now. We've worked with over 300 clients. I think, Alex, we've worked with over 40 of your members now. And last year, we generated our clients over $53 million of revenue through email. And we've done that all through our really kind of data-focused approach that's really concentrated in on driving, serious revenue from email marketing. You pointed out ad costs are spiraling out of control. Email marketing, you own that, you own the cost of it, and we can really help you and the members maximize that over this. What is the biggest trading period of the year? Q4, Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Wow. You
Cool.
guys have 130 like team members.
We do.
Oh,
Growing super
wow.
fast. Yeah. A lot of guys we've hired in preparation for our biggest period of the year as well. So really excited for that. I think it's appropriate that we start this presentation just by going through the power of Black Friday itself. I think for all of us here, and obviously a lot of guys who have been in e-commerce for a few years, everyone knows that this is one of the biggest opportunities of the year to generate new revenue for your business. And actually, it's a point of the year for that 2 week period where consumers are the most likely of any stage across the whole year to actually place an order with you. So getting prepared and making sure you're ready for that period, because once it goes, you miss it and you don't get to catch that again until 2023. So please make sure you're preparing for that in advance. But really exciting opportunity. We know that email is responsible for over 20% of site visits over the holiday period. So a lot of people, we're going to be driving a lot of traffic through email marketing onto people's websites, and you guys absolutely need to be doing the same. We also know that customers who place an order through an email spend an average of 138% more. So the average order value of a purchase through email significantly higher than those that don't receive email offers. So if you aren't actually using email marketing right now, you're missing out on a really high opportunity to increase your average order value as well. And we have to take this with a pinch of salt, and it's a good and a bad thing, but over 116 million emails were sent on Black Friday. So it's only getting more competitive in that market because people realize how good of an opportunity it is. But that just means you have to make sure you're doing it, because everyone knows how important Black Friday is to email marketing. So you've got to be taking advantage of that. Short numbers, 43% more site visits, 56% increase in revenue for some brands. It's insane that we see them, you know, increase their revenue by over 50%. And of our internal client base, we generate an average of 37% through email, 37% of their total revenue through email marketing just over that Black Friday period. So just wanted to really preface this by saying it's such an exciting opportunity and you've got to make sure you're taking advantage of that.
Wow,
now,
that's awesome.
Yeah, Black Friday 2022, we've done this for 5 years now. This is our 5th Black Friday that we've seen. And at the beginning, we knew that you could achieve really, really great results over Black Friday by just sending a few campaigns and getting a few basic flows up. However, as e-commerce has developed and as digital marketing has developed, we've seen that in order to be successful, in order to beat your competitors, in order to stand out from the crowd, you need to be looking at diversifying your marketing channels and incorporating different channels in order to be successful in 2022. So, and I'll show you a slide in a second, but campaigns, flows, and email will make up a foundation, but you need to be thinking about getting your website, your social media, and all of your organic channels even in place. And even, I know you talk a lot, Alex, about landing pages and making sure that your landing page is as optimized as possible. All of these facets come together in this event just to make sure you're being you get the best results you possibly can. And 2022, that is ultimately the way that you stand out. With that in mind, the brands that we've seen be the most successful are the ones who have a really strong foundation in their Facebook ads, their paid search, and their email. And then they can use these, what you could call maybe micro channels or other channels to complement their foundation for their marketing efforts. So this is when people are looking at influencers, TikTok, SMS, loyalty programs, referral schemes, all of these extra revenue streams that you can start to take advantage of once you have your core revenue channels in place. And the backbone of this presentation is going to be how you can sort this lovely one on the side here, your email marketing channel, and make sure that that is perfect for this event. Okay. So we'll start by going through lead magnets, which for us, we see as right at the beginning of your Black Friday preparation for email. So obviously you guys are going to be driving, hopefully increased traffic to your website as a result of Black Friday and over Q4 in general. We want to be using lead magnets to utilize that traffic that you're already driving to the website to convert these people to become subscribers. Now, we know already, for those of you who have done email marketing, as many subscribers as you can get before the Black Friday event, that's likely going to be your biggest asset when it comes to actually the event and when you're actually sending campaign content. So what we're doing here is we're actually storing an asset and we're building an asset over time that you can then utilize and take advantage of when it actually comes to the Black Friday event. Not only that, but you might be driving traffic that's disinterested or potentially cold traffic to the website. We can use a lead magnet to engage and reignite those subscribers to actually incentivize them to sign up to the mailing list through like an offer or a discount or something like that. So we can actually increase the likelihood of those people becoming warm and becoming engaged, becoming subscribers, and eventually becoming customers. And if we can do that, we can improve the conversion rate on site as well. So really important that we look at that, guys, and that you are actually taking advantage of pop-ups. They're such an important part of your strategy to actually make sure we're converting people into subscribers in preparation for Black Friday. We've got an example of a client here. This is actually from the ESS community. This client is a store from that community, but this client, we were doing over 21% conversion rate on their website through this pop-up. And we used that really successfully through Black Friday as well as we generated those results. A few tips just on how you can create a really successful pop-up. The main tip I would give everyone on the call is just to really keep it simple and not to overcomplicate it. If you have an offer that's already defined, for example, 30% off that you're giving away site-wide, make sure that offer is super, super clear and make sure you're creating real urgency. We've seen, and this is really interesting, but tiny little features like final few hours, we have this actually as a GIF, this increased our conversion rate of this pop-up by I think it was just 2%. Just a tiny little touch like that makes such a significant difference. It went from around 15 to 17% just by using these tiny little features. So make sure you are using those and creating urgency in your pop-up, and make sure that the offer you're using is super clear as well for all of the traffic that you're driving to the website. I would say reduce the display times of these pop-ups as well, especially over the Black Friday period. A lot of people get nervous about doing this and having the pop-up flash too early because it might interfere with conversion. But over Black Friday, people are literally looking for these offers and are searching for opportunities to find discounts on different websites. And that is the expectation. And I promise you, most brands are doing this. And in order to compete, you really do have to be aggressive and get it in front of people. So definitely reduce the display times there. And when it comes to the design, make sure you're prioritizing mobile display over desktop. And everyone will know that the large majority of the traffic you're driving will be mobile traffic anyway. So make sure that the design of the pop-up is suited best to those consumers, because that's the one that it needs to be optimized for.
That's awesome.
Okay. I'd love to hand over to Stefan to talk a little bit more off.
So I wanted to ask you, like, I want to ask you, like, Jamie, because I mean, you mentioned you guys been doing this for 5 years, right? And I mean, we've also been like doing e-commerce for about like 5 years now, and
yeah,
we see kind of like a lot of changes, as you mentioned, like having like a comprehensive strategy beyond, you know, like even like email or SMS, kind of like having it all like more like consolidated, integrated marketing strategy is so important these days. So
100%.
What do you see in terms of the do you see, for example, even for email opt-ins, right? Like for pop-ups, like do you see the decreasing like efficiency of that like over time in terms of the opt-in rates?
Well, from my perspective, what we've seen internally is we haven't seen conversion rates drop as a result of all the changes we've seen in e-commerce. The way that we look at lead magnets or pop-ups is they're effectively the start of your email marketing journey of actually collecting subscribers at the beginning, and then you can go ahead and get them to, you know, place campaigns or whatever. But we haven't really seen a reduction in conversion rates across any of the pop-ups that we've set up, so long as they're set up effectively. So I completely take your point. You know, the work, it is diversifying the channels that we're using in e-commerce, but in terms of pop-ups and lead magnets, I definitely see that as a foundation that everyone needs to have for a successful email setup.
I was muted. Yeah, thank you for your feedback.
No worries, I thought I was frozen there. Cool. Okay. Stefan, if you're available, mate, I'd love to hand over to you to take this section on flows preparation.
Good stuff. Thank you, Jamie. Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Stefan. I'm the head of service delivery and the cloud director here at UE. I've spoken on these events before many times. I'm sure you guys know about me and about what it is that I do for our partners. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about flows. Flows, together with lead magnets, campaigns, and some additional sort of sub-channels, are probably going to be one of the key pillars of your Black Friday event in general, and as they are for any event that you're doing. So their core objectives when it comes to flows are basically to be able to reliably retarget and convert potential purchasers on the event, on the sort of product that you're going to be selling, then from obviously your back end, then to be able to increase lifetime value of every single customer that you're going to have during Black Friday. So not just for one purchase, but to upsell or cross-sell them many more times over that weekend and later. And lastly, that they're going to help you increase scaling opportunities through paid advertising, because they're going to help you sort of fine-tune your interest audiences and everything else that sort of stands between efficient ads and obviously, you know, a failed event. So in terms of the flows themselves, they basically generate more revenue from the same traffic, which means, you know, getting people in, getting them to start the checkout process, getting them to be active on your website or even see a product flows will help you get their attention back to where you want it, which is sort of middle and bottom of your funnel, and even further down, obviously, to the main conversion. They also make ad spend more profitable because flows are basically your ultimate retargeting tool, right? So any traffic, anything you bring in through the ads, anything you were able to capture through lead magnets, as Jamie just explained, flows are actually the tool that's going to help you maximize their value every single step of the way. And essentially, they are your main tool in converting normal, regular customers or single purchasers or one-time customers into higher lifetime customers, including VIPs and beyond. They're your main tool in your arsenal to get repeat purchases, and repeat purchases are essentially what distinguishes like a drop shipper or somebody who's only just starting, and a brand that's really established and really has a sort of a two-way conversation with their audience. So, just from these little snippets and from these little sort of notes, you can already see how powerful they can be. And there are many more variables to these flows, obviously depending on your niche, on your product, on everything you're doing. So flows are really where it's at for Black Friday as an event. Now, in terms of some specific tips and tricks, some specific things you can do, the name of the game for the event is being more aggressive than you normally would. So essentially it means sort of getting that extra punch, getting an extra step that you normally wouldn't maybe do. You'd be concerned about spamming your audience. You'd be concerned about sending too many emails. For Black Friday, it's sort of basically it's a free range, so you can go and do whatever you want pretty much with your strategy, as long as it has a clear focus, which is getting that revenue and getting that engagement from your audience. The best way to get there is essentially to create specific flows for BFCM, specific automation. The three main ones would be the welcome flow, the ones that sort of get sent immediately after somebody subscribes, an abandoned cart that sort of follows that checkout process and a little bit sooner than that, and then the upsell flow, which essentially is there to sell more of your product to your customers. Definitely decrease your time delays for abandonment flows. So if it was 2 hours, we recommended getting down to 30 minutes, because you want to make sure that very short attention span everybody keeps talking about, you want to make sure that is properly leveraged during Black Friday. So people aren't going to stay on your website forever. They have so many websites to look at, so many things to choose from. You want to make sure they're properly engaged with throughout the event itself. Then you also want to make sure that you're sort of building your brand as you do this. So rather, to avoid that just being about, mindlessly sending large volumes of emails to your customers, you also want to take advantage of like Black Friday specific branding, or do like a little bit of a lame pun on your store name or something like that. Really try something different, and definitely put the words Black Friday front and center. As you'll see in some of the creative examples Jamie's going to show you, that is definitely a game changer, because people will be receiving a large volume of emails in their inbox during that weekend. You want to make sure that your email is definitely something that they're going to either return to and look again, or that's going to draw their attention immediately with a nice clean offer, a nice clean sort of branding that resonates with the event and just really, capitalizes on that whole sort of weekend. Definitely don't have all of your flows active, so switch off the corresponding usual flow. So if you have a welcome flow, switch it off, get a Black Friday specific one live, and so forth. Don't have all of these flows live at the same time, because it's not going to help you with your engagement and with getting what you want out of the event. Ensure your offer is consistent in all flows. So if you're running a 35% DIY sale, it has to be the same deal in flows or better. If it's a worse deal, or if there's no deal in the flows but there's a deal on the website, that immediately causes friction, and that friction you don't need. So if you're running a deal through email, it has to match your on-site deal, or it has to be better than that, to make sure that you're really putting your best foot forward. And then finally, and this is obviously part of the course, it goes without saying, remember to switch off your flows after the event. Many times we've seen this, Black Friday flows stay alive for 3, 4, 5 weeks until they eventually start causing problems, because people expect you to deliver those same deals and stuff like that. and it's never a good thing to get into those kinds of problems with your audience. So yeah, really solid stuff you can do on the automation side. Key things to focus on is really open up that faucet, really make sure you're doing everything you can. Be careful of what it is that you're saying in your emails. And lastly, don't forget to clean up after the event, because it is going to be, there's life after Black Friday as well. So you have to be very careful. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's about, yeah.
Stefan, appreciate those notes, mate. I think it's really important to mention that what we're suggesting here is a relatively high workload, as in we're basically saying you need to create brand new flows just for this 2-week event, that all the content is tailored to it, the subject lines, design, copy, everything. But what we've experienced is, if you don't do that, I mean, you can continue with your standard flows now, and they will produce some results for you for Black Friday. But if you put in this work for what we know is the biggest sale event of the year, you will reap the rewards and you'll beat the competition, because we know that these things work and we know they convert at a much higher rate. So to put it simply, it's worth the effort of doing that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. All right, guys. Dana, if we've got you on, we'd love to have you chat through the BFCM preparation for campaigns.
For sure. I hope you guys can hear. We want to talk about campaigns, about them is BFCM and are the best possible time to customers, no matter how in gear they actually place an order before.
Sorry, Dana. I think that there's a little bit of a connection lag. I don't know if that's on anyone else's side.
Yeah, it is, I'm afraid.
It's weird because we're in the same building.
I think it's your audio.
It might just be your audio.
No, we can't hear you.
Have we got you there, Dana?
There's no audio on my side as well.
No worries. I can crack on and take us through this section. If Dana, if you come back, feel free to take over me, but I'll take the guys through. When it comes to campaigns, obviously we spoke about this in the lead magnet section as well, but what we're doing throughout the entire year is you're building an asset which you actually own when it comes to your mailing list and your base of subscribers. And then when it comes to Black Friday as an event, that's when we can really let loose and capitalize on that and start to reap some of the rewards of building that asset across the year, in terms of generating new revenue. So this is, for a lot of your customers, the absolute perfect time to reach back to them, your subscribers, to reach back to them, and actually start to take advantage of that. And one thing we strongly recommend, and so many people don't do this, but you've got to take advantage of, even you're going to have a portion of your mailing list, especially people on this call that have 20, 30K subscribers or more. You're going to have a portion of your mailing list that are dormant or that are disengaged. Now is the time to be re-engaging with those. Over Black Friday, we don't care what our open rates are, because we work all year round to get the highest possible engagement and the highest possible sender reputation. And for the next 2 weeks over Black Friday, the only thing that matters to us is revenue generation and performance. And that short hit on engagement and open rates and bringing them down is what for sending to a higher volume of subscribers is worth it for the reward we get of generating significantly more revenue. So we basically take that hit in the short term because it's worth it, is the simple way to say that. But we know about campaigns, such an important part of your marketing strategy year round. I would argue it's the most important part of your email marketing strategy for Black Friday, to really take full advantage of that. So we'll talk through a few ways that you can do that. We've actually just released a Black Friday sort of one pager for the whole group, for the whole ESS group, which we'll send, which also includes some content calendar notes and things like that. But we'd strongly advise, firstly, sending BFCM content before the official event starts. Teasers or early bird campaigns do extremely well. So send those maybe 1 week to 10 days before the event officially starts. You do see some really strong results as a result of that. One of the strategies we've used is a subscribe to early access campaign, which we send just to the VIPs. And then we collect all of the profiles who are interested in receiving early access. So we can send that segment early access campaigns, like Black Friday has launched early for you guys. And we've seen that perform really, really well as well. So definitely use early birds and early access campaigns, and also teasers. They do really, really well to tee up the event before it officially starts. And that key point I mentioned, don't be scared to widen your segments. I would say for at least one campaign, or maybe on Black Friday itself, you want to send to all of your active list. So anyone who hasn't bounced or unsubscribed or marked you as spam, so anyone who's been active with your brand over all time, you want to send at least one campaign to those guys, because it's the perfect opportunity to try and re-engage them with what are likely to be your best offers of the year. So definitely take advantage of that. Now, other segments you can use are VIPs. We often use a buyer's segment to send content specifically to people who have purchased before, which can be really highly converting. And then we sometimes send separate offers or separate verbiage, separate copy to people who have never placed an order before. Because they obviously have slightly different objections to your subscriber base that's placed one order, and we're trying to convince them to repeat purchase. So segmenting your content that way can make it more relevant to the subscriber and therefore higher converting. And I would also recommend taking advantage of win backs as well, and your least engaged subscriber base to try and win those guys back. Just as a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of sort of sender reputation and health housekeeping, create a segment of people who purchase over the Black Friday event. So the way we recommend doing that is you can create a segment that says anyone that has placed an order in the last 3 days, and always exclude them from Black Friday content, because you're going to pick up those guys in the post-purchase flow anyway. They're going to be retargeted through flows. And if someone just placed an order through a campaign, you don't want them to receive tomorrow's campaign as well. It's going to get a little bit spammy. So the only caveat I would say is to make sure to exclude that segment. Now, we'll put a few examples on here. There's so many different ways you can do your Black Friday creative, but there's one thing that all of them have in common, and every Black Friday, every successful template has in common. And you'll notice that the offer is extremely clear in all of them, what all of these are giving away, whether it's 60% off, 30% off, 60%, buy one, get one free, whatever it is that they're giving away is prevalent immediately in that campaign, and you can see it. You're going to be competing for inbox space like you've never experienced before. So you've got to make sure that your offer is crystal clear in that email. And the other thing that these templates are doing is the shop now CTA, the call to action, is always in the first third of the email. So whether that's on desktop or mobile, that's going to be seen by the subscriber straight away for them to take action if they want to. But a great opportunity here, guys. If you want to take some notes on these, there's some really successful templates that we've seen, a mixture of our current clients and brands that we've seen perform really well in the past as well.
Before you, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, got you. That's better.
Awesome. Okay, before you move on, I would really love to make a point about having a separate, or looking into having a separate design for for the mobile view, mainly because your assets, the design, the creative behind the email is not going to appear in the same way on mobile. So what you want to make sure is that it's extremely visible on, depending on how big their screen is, and that you still follow all of the points that Jamie made earlier about having your CTA in the first third of the email, or very visible on the screen upon opening the email, and then again having the offer show in the upper part of the mobile screen. It's something that a lot of brands forget to do, and just because, and we're going to cover that in a little bit on the SMS side of things, but it's a known fact that people are converting more on mobile. So you definitely want to, the same way you would do with lead magnets, you want to optimize your content for mobile when it comes to campaigns as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's one of those things that for some reason is quite counterintuitive, because a lot of people prefer to create their design in desktop view, even though 75% of the traffic is coming from mobile or is going to be opened in mobile. So it only makes sense to prioritize that as our main focus for design.
For sure.
Cool. Dana, thanks so much for that. Glad we got you back.
Happy to be back.
Cool. We'll talk a little bit about SMS, and I think this is one of the first times we're giving some tips on SMS in general for Black Friday. These are actually some of the tips that we gave at our Klaviyo event in London that we spoke at, specifically about how to maximize this channel, both in terms of a general context and a Black Friday context as well. Just to solidify Dana's point here, over Black Friday, Shopify released some data on placed order rates, or where the purchases were coming from over the Black Friday period between mobile and desktop. And it's clear that there is such a disparity these days between the people that are converting on mobile and the people that are converting on desktop. And if that's the case, more people are on their phones and opening and placing orders on mobile. It only makes sense that SMS as a channel is more impactful and more important than ever to start taking advantage of. So let me give you a few ways that you can actually start to do that. I would say one of the key things you can do is offer mobile only discounts or even early access to Black Friday deals when people opt in for SMS. You can collect this either, some people collect their SMSs at the checkout stage, which we know is getting harder and harder now that we've lost the pre-check to get people to sign up. But another really easy way is to tag this onto your lead magnet. So when people actually go to sign up to the pop-up, we can make sure that we also collect their phone number so we can use that for marketing. And I would recommend maybe having a flow that's set up, or even a campaign to go out to all of those subscribers with early bird Black Friday deals that you can take advantage of. One of the things that we've been testing and that we're certainly going to test this year is high intent flows. By that, I mean flows that are very likely to result in someone placing an order, such as your abandoned cart and your welcome flow. Your first message, as opposed to being the email, you could maybe test that being an SMS, particularly for newly engaged subscribers, because we've seen that can drastically increase conversion rates. And if you think about it, it makes sense, because majority of people are placing order on their phones anyway, and it's just cutting out another step to have that go directly as a text. So almost definitely worth a try with that. We've seen it be really successful in the past. In terms of broadcast campaigns, so actually sending content to your mailing list, to your SMS list, we would recommend at least 2 planned SMS broadcasts over Black Friday. But depending on your list itself, you could send up to 5, I would say, over that week, depending on how aggressive you want to be. A tip that we've received directly from Klaviyo as well is this is a fantastic opportunity to grab the attention of your non-purchasers, particularly when the event is ending. With Klaviyo, you can actually create a segment of everyone that's received content over the Black Friday period that hasn't placed a single order, and you can have a specific SMS campaign go out as a last chance to place your order with our best offer of the event, just to the people who still haven't placed an order, as a last-ditch attempt. And that's something we're certainly going to be tagging onto our SMS strategies this year for clients. And would strongly recommend.
I would only add that I really advise you guys be up to date with the regulations around SMS. So make sure that you have a schedule for SMS alone outside of email. Obviously, all of the states in the United States have their own regulations around it. So make sure that you're in the loop on when the quiet hours are, when to avoid sending out messages, because carriers won't send them out actually if you miss those. So just be in the loop and stay up to date.
True. I'm pretty sure it's in US, it's like working business hours is when up to 8 p.m. I'm pretty sure off the top of my head, but don't quote me on that.
Depends. They have different hours.
Oh, of course, different time zones. But yeah, so definitely familiarize yourself with those. It is important to make sure we're sending at the right times. Because we're now talking about 2 different channels, really. We're talking about email on one side, but we're also talking about SMS. The key that we found, the way to be most successful with this, and you can see my little example on the right-hand side, but you effectively need to work out a way to maximize Black Friday as an event. you need to work out a way that these two channels can complement each other rather than cannibalize revenue, or rather than contradict each other, or ultimately be too aggressive or anything like that. And there is a way that you can make sure these two work effectively together and complement, as opposed to get in each other's way. I would recommend, obviously, plan your sending strategy for, definitely do this in advance for both email and SMS, and actually use a content calendar to know what days am I going to be sending an email and to what list, and what days am I going to be sending an SMS. I mean, it sounds simple, but at our agency, we do that for every single client, and it makes life so much easier for everyone, particularly when you guys are planning your front end ads, what's going to go out on what day, what creative. You're probably even planning social media and your organic as well. And by doing this, you can make sure that everything is consistent in terms of offers and in terms of the times that this content is going out. So definitely take advantage of that and plan the event in advance. I'd also say, as much as you can, both with SMS and with email, make sure to personalize that content to the subscriber. If you're giving away early bird access to a VIP, make sure that's abundantly clear in the email, or even in the subject line. Early bird access expires in 6 hours, whatever it is. Create that urgency and let the customer know that they're getting an exclusive deal or exclusive access. Otherwise, no one's going to take advantage of that, and then you're not going to reap the benefit of even doing that campaign. So really, the copy and the content really, really matter when it comes to Black Friday and getting that right. And both with SMS and with email, make sure that you set up your flows specifically to the Black Friday event. As we've mentioned, it's one of the highest converting things that you can do. My final point on this would just be an element of flexibility and making sure you're leaning into whatever's working best on the event. We've had, and I'd be lying if I sat here and said, every single time we've planned out a Black Friday for a client, it's gone 100% perfectly and as we expected every single time. The reality is we might send a campaign on the Thursday that performed extremely well, and actually we want to use some of that copy or creative for the Friday, so we copy the campaign and send it to a different list on the Friday because it really worked. Or it might be the case that our Friday morning email didn't work as well or didn't get as many opens, so we copy it and send a resend Friday afternoon to make sure we make up for some of that lost revenue. So plan your event in advance, but make sure you're on the ball on the day, and you can, I suppose, have an element of flexibility to action some of these points when you're figuring out what's performing highest, because it's a short time frame and you've got to be adaptable to make sure you pull as much revenue as you can over that event. Similarly to what we did, and Stefan, I'll give you credit for this one. This is one of our current clients that we did Black Friday for last year, and we were able to generate 1.12 million in SMS revenue alone through the Black Friday period. You can see these spikes leading up to our Black Friday sales and the revenue increases. We saw 470% increase in campaign revenue, 213% increase in journeys revenue, which is effectively SMS flows. So just to put it into perspective, so much opportunity here to maximize over that event.
It's true, and just to add to that a little bit, because obviously I was there for when all of this happened, is there's a lot of prep work that's involving like run-ups to sales, and then the sales diverging into different sort of channels for like repeat purchasers and VIPs, and also sales going out to like a wider audience, sales on particular products or group of products that are only sent to people showing interest in those products. So there's a bunch of stuff here, rather than just blanketing the list and just sort of sending out like a wide one particular sell. You have to also be a little bit smart in terms of like putting the right deal in front of the right person. So we just amped that up to 11 and just really went to town on all of these different groups and different products. Obviously you can pretty much see the results, so nothing more to say really.
Awesome, mate. Thanks so much for that. Yeah, that was awesome. We'll send this deck to everyone after the call, but we've chucked in a couple of examples from our current client base of how you can actually bolster your existing email setup by including SMS into that. And this works both for Black Friday as well as in general. You can use this, but things like including an SMS at the beginning of your welcome flow, we saw that for this client, it added an extra £15,000 in the last 30 days in revenue alone, just by adding this SMS message to people who subscribe to the welcome flow. So really successful. The way you use SMS is actually it's never going to replace email, but it's always going to be used to strengthen, bolster, and complement your existing SMS, your existing email setup. Here's another example of how you can do that with your abandoned carts, and actually throw in, alongside your existing email abandoned cart, you can throw in SMS content to make sure you get people to actually place that order. And as we said, testing this as the first piece of content that goes out for high intent flows like your welcome and your abandoned cart can be really, really impactful. So we definitely recommend doing that. Okay. I'd love just to finish by talking a little bit about website, social, and landing pages. The main thing we'll focus here on will be landing pages, but if there's one takeaway from all of this, obviously we've talked in detail here about how you can maximize email and SMS as a channel, but ultimately, to make sure this is as successful as possible, you have to be considering all of your organic channels and all of your channels in general to make sure that they're consistent and they're as effective as possible. This is a client that we had where we did a product launch for them, and we actually managed to work in both their SMS, their email, their on-site, and all of their social channels as well, and making sure that content was consistent throughout. You need to take the exact same approach when it comes to Black Friday, and making sure you are maximizing the Black Friday opportunity across every channel that you have. Even if that's as simple as Instagram posting or Instagram stories, if you've got a big following, make sure to leverage that resource at your disposal, because it can be a real revenue generator when it comes to these key events. We wanted to talk a little bit about landing pages as well. I've chucked a couple of examples in here just to show you the resource that we've created for the ESS group. But actually, we've put together a list of around 30 of our favorite landing pages, e-commerce landing pages that we've seen across the space that have been the highest performing, and ultimately what we love about them and how you can replicate them. Even in the PDF, you can click the link to see the landing page on mobile or on desktop. So I would strongly recommend using that resource. And if anyone wants access to it, make sure to just send us a message in the Discord, and we'll be sure to send that over to everyone. Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah. So guys, please comment. Doc, and we'll send this document to you. So just please comment Doc in the comments, and we'll send this document your way.
Cool. I've already sent it to a few people, Alex, in the Discord chat. But if anyone else wants access to that, just drop us a line and we can shoot that straight over. Cool.
Awesome.
We'll finish with this, guys. So when it comes to Black Friday mapping, I hope it's clear that email is so important, but there are so many other things that we need to be considering now. Obviously, we know campaigns and flows, SMS are absolutely fundamental to a successful Black Friday, but as well, your landing page, your website, your paid social, and your social media play such an important part as well. And making sure that we have all of those working consistently together, and we're being planned, we're prepared, and we're purposeful. That's how we have a really successful Black Friday event. And it's something that we obviously want to share that information with you today. So not to scare anyone, but the event literally starts in 8 weeks' time. So the content couldn't come soon enough. I hope everyone is really thinking in detail about the next steps here. We would recommend that you now start to clarify what are your Black Friday offers going to be across the event for all of your channels. Start to think about your store or your landing page. How do you want to theme the content for Black Friday? And then it's time to start thinking about content creation. Ideally, you want to be thinking about content creation at the absolute latest a month before the event. If you're going to be thinking about an agency, we would say you really need to start thinking about that now. In our circumstance, and I'm sure it's the case with other agencies, demand massively increases over this period, and it becomes very difficult to fit everyone in, particularly the closer that you get to the event. So I'd strongly recommend really starting to think about your strategy and how you want to approach this now. And Matt, if I've still got you on the call, I'd happily hand over to you on how we can potentially help with that.
Hey guys, yeah. So we can absolutely help. So as part of, obviously, well, being part of the ESS ourselves, you know, we offer free audits to any of the members, where I'll take a real deep dive through their Klaviyo or Omnisend, whatever they're using, to be honest. And from there, I'll be able to kind of brick up a plan as to, you know, what we think needs to be done for BFCM, and also how we can help them with that, with our services over the key trading period. So if they do want one of those audits, please just drop us a line on Discord or send me an email, matt@undergroundecom.com, and we can get something in the diary to kind of really help you out and go through it.
That's right, mate. And Alex, that is absolutely all from our side, mate. Thanks so much for having us on to share that.
Yeah, thank you for joining, guys. And yeah, we'll be sending some people your way who are looking for some guidance in this direction. And yeah, I think right now is the time to get it all set up, because you know the time is coming for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So you don't want to miss this opportunity to maximize your profit margins, maximize your revenue, like best time of the year. So
Absolutely.
Sure. We're thinking we're going to have one or two of our best clients that have really smashed Black Friday in the past. We want to have them on to do like a live Q&A with you as well. And hopefully, we've talked a lot about email, but we can give the guys hopefully some great tips on the front end and how they're smashing things with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and that side, and how they're preparing for the event.
yeah, definitely. Cool.
Cool, man.
Thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for joining me today. And yeah, we'll see you in next video. And we'll also share the document. If you guys need the document, just drop doc below in the comments, and we'll send it your way.
Awesome, Alex. Thanks so much for having us on, mate.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Alex.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Cheers, man.